Reaping meat sowing. Oh boy. You know, look, I don't like what's happening in this country, but sometimes a little schadenfreude goes a long way. Boston's wealthy elite are outraged over new shelter for illegal immigrants in their neighborhood, reports the Post-Millennial. Aw. These uppity urban liberals who voted for this policy in 2019 when the Democrats were on stage and they were asked, would you open the borders? And they all raised their hands. You voted for it. You want me to cry for you? Okay, fine. Welcome to the fight. Can we please start doing something about this now? On the debate stage, they were asked, would you change border crossings from criminal actions to civil violations? They all raised their hand. What's a civil violation? It means when you illegally enter the country, you get a little ticket and then you're good to go. And that's where we're basically at right now. Well then, the Post-Millennial reports, Boston residents living in one of the city's most expensive neighborhoods are outraged over the city turning an office building into an emergency shelter for illegal immigrants. Ooh. The Boston elite expressed severe grievances about the decision at a community meeting on Tuesday evening. Yet state officials had no answer for them. Residents of Fort Point in Seaport couldn't stomach the idea of illegal immigrants living among them in a sanctuary city. Reaping means sowing. What's this? Libs of TikTok tweets. The upscale town of Seaport in Boston is turning an office building into a shelter to house illegals. Residents are fuming. Biden won Massachusetts by 33 points. Biden won Boston by 67 points. Democrats turned Boston into a sanctuary city. Elections have consequences. You know, I look at these Democrats and I see them setting themselves on fire. And then they go, fire hot, fire hot. And then their other friend runs up to them and goes, oh no, and tries to grab them. Oh, fire indeed hot. Okay, fine. I'll get the fire extinguisher. I don't want the fire on you spreading down these houses. But what do you do if people keep lighting themselves on fire? Here we are. Among the greatest concerns were safety and security, which have been raised in sanctuary cities across the U.S. Brian Curley, a resident in the community, told WBZ that state officials did not give a voice to the community before making this decision. Yes, they did. Biden said he was going to do this. Biden looked at the camera and said, I'm going to make sure every single illegal immigrant comes into this country free of charge, and they will come to your homes. And you went, well, wonder what that means. I'm being hyperbolic. Biden said, along with all the rest of them, free health care to non-citizens. No more criminal actions. They just tried to codify open borders. They called it a border security bill. 80% went to foreign war, and the bill would codify illegal immigrants crossing the border would be allowed in. Fortunately, it was struck down by what we have in the Republican Party. Not that they're great, but y'all are going to keep voting for it. Maybe the dam will finally break and these people will say enough and vote for Donald Trump. Then Trump can come in and begin the largest mass deportation of criminals in this country. Can I just make something clear for everybody? The crime rate of illegal immigrants is 100%. I love this. You know, that you've got this poor young woman who was murdered, and they're like, don't conflate what an illegal immigrant did with this crime, because crime happens. They say things like, actually, illegal aliens have a lower rate of committing crimes in this country. That's not possible. It is a violation of U.S. law to enter outside of a port of entry. So they've already broken the law, which means they're criminal aliens. That's the legal term for it. All of them, every single one. You know, I actually do have some respect for many of these people who want to come to this country so much that, and they love this country. I love this country, and they see the wealth and opportunity that these leftists don't see. I respect that. But you got to come in legally, man. Each and every one, you come knock on the door, we'll talk about it. But you're breaking through my window, I'm calling the cops. It's anybody entering the country illegally is a criminal alien, 100%. I think there's a lot of angry residents who feel the same way I do, that this was being forced on us. But you voted for it. I don't quite understand. Is there something wrong with your brain? I'm just so sick of this, man. They vote for it and they cry about it. The office space owned by the Unitarian Universalist Association will house 80 illegal immigrants once it's officially morphed into an overflow shelter. The site of the shelter is located at 24 Farnsworth Street. You know, let me just tell you guys. It is not, you can't just send the migrants to Martha's Vineyard. There was that story out of Illinois. Now, Illinois, I know. Naperville, a well-to-do suburb. You had one elected official there say, I think we should open up our homes to these undocumented. How many of you are today are going to commit to that? And they're, well, I never. They were so offended. Oh, yeah. You vote for it all day and night with smiles on your faces. And then when the roosters come home, it's, they're forcing this on us. These people make me sick. United Way of Massachusetts Bay, a nonprofit that the state has selected to open temporary shelters for migrant and homeless families, plans to get the new shelter up and running as soon as possible, said Governor Maura Healey, according to the Boston Herald. We are working through all of that, Healey told reporters, declining to give an exact date as to when these illegal families would move in. I just don't know how long it's going to take to get everything operationalized and work things out with the community, work things out with the city. Although United Way ultimately selected the site, the governor stated that her administration supports the space's use because we need to continue to find safe housing for people. That's right. Right in your neighborhood. We continue to be in dialogue with the community and with the city, Healey said. However, community residents said that officials gave them no answers. At the meeting on Tuesday evening, officials informed the residents that there would be another meeting on Friday and they hope to have more answers then. How is it a done deal when you cannot answer these questions? There was a lot of questions tonight. There were not a lot of answers. General Scott Rice, a state official who is overseeing security at its migrant shelters, vowed to keep the community safe. He's talking about the migrant community, not you. Our track record has proven very good. We had very, very, very few incidents. Very few means some, doesn't it? One woman asked at the meeting, how are you going to ensure we're safe? I would like to see a little bit more compassion. That's my point of view. Another man interjected. Yes, a little bit more compassion. Bring them into your bosom, into your homes, Boston residents. I demand that you open up your homes to these people in your sanctuary towns. This is what we need to do. We need these cities. We need the federal government. You take these illegal immigrants, you go to their houses, and you put them in. I know it violates the Third Amendment. I'm joking. I'm saying make sure these people know exactly what they voted for. I love that propaganda video where it's like the woman's like, I feel like I have my own personal chef because she brought an illegal immigrant into her house. A refugee, as it were. Apparently, I hear from, Dane over here at Timcast that the Spanish of these individuals was atrocious and it didn't quite make sense and it seemed fake. Well, I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know. But I can tell you, boy, is it propaganda. We brought these undocumented people into our houses, and now they live here forever, but they cook dinner for us, and it's like having your own personal chef. Yeah, we had a word for that. We had a word for that back in the day. It was slavery. I provide food and shelter for an individual in exchange for services and labor. Do you pay them? No. Can they leave? They can technically leave, but the dangers are less appealing than living here and cooking me dinner. Yeah, okay, it's kind of like slavery. I like to be real. During slavery, they literally couldn't leave. They had slave catchers and things like that. What they're doing now with these migrants, I shouldn't say migrants, that's not fair, the criminal aliens. In this story, though, they were refugees. I think that's what I'll try to be legally correct. These individuals can leave whenever they want and sleep outside in the winter. So they're not going to do that, right? Mm-hmm. The people who are brought into these homes, who are cooking meals, you're in for a wild ride. Because they're not going to serve you or be your slaves. And maybe they'll be nice. But it's going to be a wild story when these people in these well-to-do neighborhoods let these criminal aliens into their home. And then one day they come home and the locks are changed. And they can't get in. And they call the police. And the police say, what's going on? They say, we can't get in our house. Why not? Keys don't work. Someone changed the lock. Who did? The guy who lives there. Who's the guy? We let him live here. Ma'am, so the man lives there? I thought you said it was your house. Well, we do live here. He's an undocumented immigrant. We wanted to help him, so we let him move in. So you're having a tenant dispute? Well, it's not a tenant dispute. We can't get in our house. Lady, look, you got to go to court for this. Okay, we can't help you. I'm really, really looking forward to those stories. Boston, I'll say for the third time to wrap this up. Reaping, meat sowing, cry more. Next segment's coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.